Hello, everyone. Today's training session topic is payment batch schedules based on rules via payment form. In this session, you will learn how to create payment batch schedules from the payment form on the basis of predefined rules. You can define certain rules by selecting parameters, and based on those parameters, your payment batch schedules will be created automatically via the payment form. Objectives of this training session. By the end of this session, you will learn to understand the purpose of payment batch scheduling. You don't need to process individual invoices, orders, or journals separately. Instead, you can group or combine them into a single batch and generate payments against that batch. This helps simplify and speed up the payment process. Learn how to create payment batch schedules. Based on selection criteria, there are two methods to create payment batches. Manual selection. Select specific records and generate payment batches. Rule-based selection. Define rules that automatically pick invoices, orders, or GL journal lines according to the conditions you specify. Based on these rules, the system will create payment batch schedule records. Explore filtering options for picking invoices and orders. You can filter and pick records based on business partner, document type, date range. These filtering options help ensure that only the desired records are included when generating payment batch schedules. Ensure accuracy, compliance, and efficiency in payments. Since you don't need to process each payment individually, you can verify and validate batch schedules directly from the payment batch schedule screen. This improves both efficiency and accuracy in payment processing. Gain confidence in monitoring and managing payment batches. You can monitor and manage payment batch schedules through the payment form. Any necessary verification or modifications can be done on the payment batch schedule screen. If any discrepancies are found, you can make the required adjustments before processing. Prerequisites. Before beginning, ensure the following setups are in place in the Onfinity system so that you can use the payment form efficiently for generating payment batch schedules. Valid payment bank account. A valid bank account should exist in the system from which payments will be generated. Open transactions. Ensure there are open invoices, open orders, or unallocated GL journal lines available. These will be used to generate the payment batch schedule lines. Currency conversion. If you deal with multiple currencies and want to generate payment batch schedules in a different currency from the invoices, make sure currency conversion rates are entered in the system. User permissions. The user role must have valid permissions to access and use the payment form for generating payment batch schedules. Payment batch schedules. Based on rules. A payment batch schedule based on rules allows users to group and process multiple invoices together in a single batch. If you have several invoices, you don't need to process each one manually. You can process them all together in one batch using predefined selection criteria. These criteria are defined through parameters in the rules. The system then automatically picks the relevant invoices, orders, or GL lines and creates the corresponding payment batch schedule. This process helps to automate payments, reduce manual effort, ensure timely settlements, maintain accuracy in financial transactions. In the Onfinity system, payment batch schedules based on selection are created through the payment form. Within the payment form, you have two options for generating batch schedules: based on selection, based on rules. In this session, we will focus on the rule-based method, business scenarios covered. The rule-based payment batch schedule process can be used for various business scenarios, including invoice settlements, advanced deposits, GL settlements, multi-currency transactions, creating payment batch schedules in different currencies. You will learn how to perform each of these in the Onfinity system. First, we'll start by seeing how you can use the payment form in the Onfinity system to create payment batch schedules based on predefined rules. This is our Onfinity link. I'm logging in with my credentials and clicking on Login. Once the home screen is loaded, I'll search for the payment form from the menu. Our records are listed here. These include both receivables and payables. Now, to create payment batch schedules based on rules, we don't need to select any record manually. We can directly click on the Batch button. When we click on the Batch button, two options appear: based on selection, based on rule. As explained earlier, based on selection means you manually select the records from the grid, and the payment batch schedule will be created only for those selected records. In this session, we'll focus on the based on rule option. So, we'll select based on rule and click OK. This opens a screen with several parameters. These define the rule. Based on these parameters, the system filters the records and creates the payment batch schedules. Defining parameters for rule-based batch. Since a batch is going to be created, the target document for that payment batch schedule is batch payment. Next, we have the invoice type. If you want to create a payment batch for a specific document type of invoice, you can choose it here. For now, I'm not selecting any particular invoice type, which means the system will process all available unpaid invoices of every type, including debit memos, AP invoices, and AR invoices. Then we have the payment bank, which indicates the bank from which the payment will be made or received. Next is the currency. You can select the currency in which you want to create the payment batch schedule record. If you want to create the batch for a specific business partner, you can choose that business partner here. Similarly, if you want to create the batch for a particular invoice, you can select that invoice and even its specific schedule. For this demonstration, I'll create the batch for all business partners, meaning the system will cover all transactions of all partners, unpaid orders, invoices, and GL journal entries. The next field is payment method. Here it shows as online transfer. If you wish to pick invoices within a particular date range, you can apply a date filter as well. Additional options. Consolidate payment. If you want to combine payments into one consolidated batch, you can mark this option as true. Same as bank currency. Select this checkbox as true if you wish to create a batch exclusively for unpaid invoices, orders, and GL lines, where the transaction currency matches the bank currency, currency type, and conversion date. These are used when your GL journal currency differs from your transaction currency. The system uses the conversion date to apply the correct currency rate. Include GL journal lines. If you want to include GL journal lines in the batch, check this box. You can further filter the GL lines based on a specific account. The system will then include only those GL entries related to that account, creating the batch. After defining all the required criteria, click OK. The system will process all unpaid invoices and orders from both receivables and payables and create the payment batch schedule accordingly. Once the batch is created, a confirmation message appears with the batch document number, which you can copy. To view the created batch, search for Payment Batch Schedule in the menu and open it. Reviewing the payment batch schedule. Here you'll see all the parameters that were selected earlier, such as document type, date, bank account date, payment method, and currency. You can also see that the consolidated payment checkbox is marked as true, as we had selected it during creation. Under the Batch Lines section, you'll find a list of all business partners for whom the system has picked invoices and orders. For example, you can see a particular business partner with their corresponding payment location and payment records listed below. Each record displays the invoice reference, the due amount, the scheduled amount. If you don't want to include any schedule, you can simply select and delete it from here. Thus, the payment batch details are created for each business partner. If any receipt records are available for a partner, those appear as separate lines under the batch as well. You can see both GL lines and invoices linked to their respective references. This is how you can generate and process a payment batch schedule based on rules in the Onfinity system. Thank you. That concludes this part of the session.